Hello, this is Lori Michelle, the Moshiach, here to answer a question today. What really caused the riots at the Capitol building on January 6th? We're about to have a second impeachment trial of former President Donald Trump, unprecedented, and a lot of people argue unconstitutional, but that doesn't seem to matter anymore, does it? People make it up as they go, and if they don't like something, they change the laws. So now we're watching what looks to me like a spectacle. It's really horrible, and you don't have to be American to view what's going on in America, the divisiveness and the hatred and the riots and everything that's gone on over the past year in America as horrible, very upsetting. So what really caused the riots? A lot of people have their own opinions, but my opinion isn't really an opinion. It's the truth backed up by Hashem, the King of the universe. It's just the truth. I hope you'll listen to the end because my answer makes a lot of sense. And if you want the truth, it will make sense to you no matter who you are, Democrat or Republican. What really caused the riot on January 6th was Americans needing and desiring their voices to be heard. That's what caused the riot. And it could have been avoided completely. And January 6th could have been largely ceremonial, which the Democrats argue it's supposed to be, not necessarily true. History shows that that's not necessarily true, that it's a day where Congress and the Senate can protest the electoral count and have a debate, which is what was supposed to happen on January 6th, but that debate didn't even have to happen. It could have been ceremonial if the Supreme Court took Texas's case, which was, I read just now, backed by 18 other states, that they wanted to they filed in the Supreme Court. They were protesting for states in how they handled the election, and that it overturned the election from Trump to Biden because they broke constitutional law. So they filed in the Supreme Court. I'm getting validation because I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a mom who turned out to be your Mashiach, whether you know this or not, but it's true. In any case, they filed in the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court tossed it and said they didn't have standing. And the media, which is very left-wing, progressive, liberal, thought it was an act of sedition that Texas should file such a case in the Supreme Court, which is ludicrous because they followed the law and the Constitution. And I think they should have taken the case, because if they took the case, if any number of the courts had heard the case of election fraud, if President Trump had his day in court where we actually had a trial, and I think it had to be the Supreme Court really who would have heard the case, because if we had a trial in the Supreme Court and the justices made a decision, we would all have to follow their decision. And the King of the universe just said yes. So it could have avoided all of the problems that we experienced on January 6th. Never would have happened. We would have had an outcome that was ruled in a court of law after hearing all the evidence that the left says doesn't exist. And I haven't heard questions answered, me personally. And I know there are 75, 80 million Americans who feel their questions have not been adequately answered. And I believe, and he says I'm correct, that if those questions were answered instead of shoved aside, squashed, censored, and you were told you're an idiot, you're treasonous, you're whatever you are, name calling, foul names, censorship, being thrown off social media, if all of that didn't occur and people allowed free speech to reign supreme, and the courts took the case and people could be heard, and there could be a judgment based on evidence, transparency, truth, never would have happened. It never would have happened. The reason that the Supreme Court turned down that case from Texas and 18 other states was they said they didn't have standing. And I'm not a lawyer, but it sounds smelly to me. It sounds like they didn't want to get involved, is really what it sounds like to me. And they were concerned because America had been experiencing riots all year. We saw them, looting, burning of buildings, and they were concerned that they would have to make a decision, perhaps, that the results of the election needed to be overturned based on election irregularities, breaking of constitutional law. And that would have caused more riots and a civil war, and they didn't want any part of it. So they stayed out of it. That's what it looked like to me. And I'm told I'm correct. And a lot of Americans believe that what I just said is correct. So we had a riot and everybody caved in, people who went there to debate the election and called for an election commission, a bipartisan election commission to look at all of the supposed evidence that the Democrats don't believe exists, or it's not overwhelming. It doesn't overwhelm them. It's underwhelming. So they don't want this election commission. And the American public, half of the American public, wants this commission. They want transparency. They want the truth. And that's why the riots happened, not because there were hundreds of thousands of people there protesting because Donald Trump whooped them into a frenzy. That's not the reason why. People have a right to protest. They have a right to speak. First Amendment gives us the right to speak and have our voices be heard patriotically, just like he said. And that riot was pre-planned. There's evidence that the perpetrators who caused all of that planned to cause all of that. So it was a perfect storm that culminated on January 6th. And now they're exacerbating it in the government by holding this impeachment trial, which many argue is unconstitutional. Squashing your voice is unconstitutional, but who am I? I'm not a constitutional lawyer. I'm just the Moshiach. And why do I say that? Because it's my job to tell you, whoever you are, the truth, if you care to hear the truth. But in this world, lots of people don't want to hear what someone else has to say if it goes against what they believe, what they want, what they desire. I. And that's what we're seeing play out in America, in the government, in social media. I. He's not my president. We heard that for 4 years, right, when Trump was president. And now we're hearing it the other way around. So people are beating each other about the head, speaking evil, and it's not going to get better like this because the First Amendment is important, and it's important to protect our voices, and we need to be heard, and we can't be squashed. And the Supreme Court owed it to the American people to hear that case and have it all laid out. And the Democrats owed that to all Americans. They talk about unity. President Biden speaks about unity. And if you want unity, you have to validate everyone. Everyone has a voice. And President Biden is obligated to hear the voices of all Americans if he wants unity. But it doesn't look that way from where I'm sitting. From where I'm sitting, nobody really wants unity. They want unity within their own little group, and their group has to win. And they want to squash and kill the other side because they're stupid and they don't know what they're doing and they're destroying America. And we heard that from the Democrats for 4 years. And now they have their day. They control all of the government now. And so now they're changing everything. They're changing all the policies and all the rules, and they're changing the Constitution, and they're taking away your voice. They're even telling you that it's not okay in Congress to use terms like mom and dad, sister and brother, daughter and son. They're changing the rules. The rules of the game have changed. They've decided. And freedom of speech is something that is very important, near and dear to every American, to Democrats too. Because if it was the other way around, they wouldn't like it. So be careful what you ask for, Democrats and Republicans, because I could pick it right out of you too. You've done and said things that have really made me very upset in past years. I never voted for a Republican until John McCain, truly. So take it for what it is. The truth must be heard. People must be heard, unless it's a call for violence or, God forbid, something illegal. But we have a right to be validated and to be heard. And if the Supreme Court had done its job, we would hear the evidence and they would rule, and we would have to accept the results. He says, yes, riots, they're going to happen, but you can't feed the devil, because if you feed the devil and you do things because you're afraid of civil war, you feed the devil, oh, we don't want to do the right thing, we don't want to hear the truth, so we'll feed the devil and keep the devil quiet. The devil's going to devour you, and the devil, is devouring America right now. And while you're all fighting, the left wing, you're terrible, you're destroying America. Oh, you right-wing zealots, you Bible-toting fools. While you're all fighting, the bigger devil is gathering weapons of mass destruction and looking to take down America. And you're all going to suffer the consequences of your actions. You got to stop fighting and start telling the truth. So I would say to you, Democrats, if the election was on the up and up, answer the questions. Transparency. Why can't we have it? Why can't we have a commission? Why can't we make 80 million or 75 million disenfranchised Americans happy? And look into it and make it better. The truth hurts, but the truth is the only way to heal America and heal the world. You want more truth? I'm very transparent. I tell it all. There's no questions that I won't answer. Ask away. God bless you. The truth will set us free. It's going to be an interesting week. God bless you.